What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another rousing episode of the Final Word here on the It's a Rap Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call on this beautiful Tuesday, April the 29th, 2020. Yeah, K5. Yeah, 25. It's great to be back with you for another night of fun-filled Phillies action. Kicking the ball around Citizen Bank Park. Ryan Kerkering serving up golf ball home runs, coughing up a lead in the ninth inning. Johan Rojas playing center field like I would at the age of 10. And of course, Phillies escaped this game with only one error charged against them. That's the biggest thing, that takeaway from me tonight, folks, in this nasty game that was played just a mere couple hours or an hour ago. The Phillies, how do you escape that defensive garbage with just one error charge? Who is running MLB error department in the scorers area? I want to meet that snowflake personally, because good night, nurse. What I saw tonight defensively from this baseball team, borderline Little League. I had a game earlier tonight. I had a JV game earlier today, and they played defense better than the Philadelphia Phillies did tonight. Trey Turner, what was he? 5 for 5, 4 for 5, something like that. Yeah, he had a hell of a night at the plate. But good God, man. Set your feet and throw the ball, man. Come on. You've been doing this long enough. Now, Trey Turner's been a defensive liability since he stuck on pinstripes. I'll give you that. It just seems to be getting worse. And then Johan Rojas, man. Come on. Every time he makes a blunder in center field, which is happening quite regularly these days, I think back to the broadcast on Sunday night on ESPN, and I made a comment that I'm sad that ESPN is losing Sunday Night Baseball, because that's like I don't know, it's my youth, right? Well, not my youth. It's like my late teenage years into my early 20s. But there was a comment made on the broadcast that night, or this past Sunday night, about Johan Rojas being an elite defender. And every time he misplays the ball in center field, every time he jumps at something, it tries to make a Willie Mays catch out of the most routine of fly balls. I harken back to that statement. And I think, well, maybe it is time for ESPN to say goodbye to baseball, because if you're telling me Johan Rojas is an elite defender, one of us ain't watching baseball, and it ain't me. But Phillies won 7-6. We're going to continue the conversation so eloquently begun by Steve Fuentes there on the Fighting's Final. We're going to get into my take on this game. And we're also going to talk, so as you could, the title of the show tonight is pretty open-ended. I really don't have much other than I was relying on a Phillies win tonight to talk about, which or loss really, and they've given me a lot to go over. So we'll spend the majority of the time talking that, but we can talk about pretty much anything you want tonight. It's open season. But I do want to make a comment. I do want to get back into this Eagles White House visit thing. I do, because the more and more I think about it, listen, if you knew me before I was, I guess you could probably guess what side of the aisle I might come out on, right? But I'm not. This is not about me trying to voice my political opinions. And I say, well, I don't want this show to be political. I want it to be sports. You know what? It can be whatever it is you want. I am never going to censor anybody on this program to talk about what they want to talk about. I will never do that. I am not a hypocrite. I don't say that your opinions matter, but then I'm going to shut you down and tell you that you can't talk about stuff. I'll never do that. So we're going to talk about this Eagles thing, and specifically about Jalen Hurts not going to the White House, because I think that's a coward move, honestly. I think that young man has no idea how to be a leader. There's been some questions about his leadership ability already, and I think this is just another one of the many strikes against that leadership ability, when you can't put your own personal feelings aside for the good of the team. And that's essentially that's like the baseline definition of being a leader is. So I am going to talk about that. We're also going to do our of the night segment and our card review, all the great things, our day in Philadelphia sports history, all the great things we do every night on the program. But before I get started, I'll remind everybody that this show on this network is brought to you by the fine folks that make It's a Rap Sports go. And those are two people right here, Pat Bernard and Steve Fuentes. Steve just did his Fighting's Final, but he'll be back on Thursday night at 9 with the Attacking Third, joined by Pat Bernard, as they will break down and talk everything Union and MLS related? Again, I asked this last night and no one answered it. I'm going to ask it again. What the hell does hashtag dupe mean? Please, somebody tell me. I know nothing about soccer or the union. I want to know what dupe means. Somebody tell me. Is it? I imagine it's union related. So, but they will be with you every Thursday night at 9 here on the network. So let's get into it. We got somebody jumping in right now. Our bullpen blows. Welcome aboard, Star Wars. How you been, man? Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, there was some questions heading into the season. There was a lot of questions after losing Trevor Hoffman, after losing Carlos Estevez, however you say his name. I'm not advocating for bringing them two back. And please don't confuse that. I'm not saying that we need to have them, but the Jordan Romano, Joe Ross pickups really have been really kind of not stellar. And Kerkering was sliding last year a lot. And I honestly think, Star Wars, and I've said this until I'm blue in the face, and I'm going to say it again. If you don't have roles in the bullpen, how can you blame these guys for struggling? How honestly can you blame them? And I'm a big believer in the fact that we don't have a role. You don't have a set role night by night. You don't know what you're going to be doing night for night. I think that gets into a pitcher's head. Pitchers are probably the most fickle creatures on the face of the earth. They need routine. They need to know what's going on day to day. And when you don't allow a pitcher to get into a routine in the bullpen, I honestly believe it messes with their head. And I still think Kerkering has the ability to close at this level. I really do. He's got nasty stuff. He just doesn't have no one's given him the confidence to say, if it's not closer, then set up guy, whatever. But no one said to him, this is what you're going to do. And, night for night, it's always changing, and you can't have that, man. You really can't. And I'm not saying that the bullpen with no roles is affecting Carlos Hernandez's pitching ability, or is it Romano's? Actually, it might be affecting Romano. I'm not going to say it's affecting Ruiz's ability. They're just not good pitchers, right? But I think it goes a little bit deeper than just the pitchers. I honestly do. It's a philosophy. It's how the bullpen is run or not run, actually. So, yeah, you can be concerned, and we should be concerned about the bullpen because it's broken, and I don't know. Rob's not doing anything to fix it, and that's really the most frustrating part about it. His recipe to fix anything on this baseball team is just repetition over and over again, and they'll work themselves out of it. Is that going to work for this team? It didn't work for this team last year, and is it going to work for them this year? I know I heard Steve. I caught the end of his show. And, he was goading or glowing on the ability of some of the players down in AAA. And they went off on the Rochester Red Wings tonight, like a tune of 16-1 or something like that. Otto Kemp, 2 home runs, leading the way. At what point, and again, I'm going to say it, and I'm probably going to say it every night until something gives. At what point do some of these kids get a shot? And then we can even gravitate towards the pitchers on the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And I'm going to go to one specific, Mick friggin' Abel. How much more does Mick Abel got to do at the minor league level in order to get an opportunity at the major league level? And that opportunity should come just so that we know once and for all what Mick Abel is. I don't know how much more seasoning Mick Abel needs. 6 years now he's been in the minors. Now, he struggled a lot of those 6 years. But right now, and let me just give you his slash line right now through this part of the season. He's 3-2 with a 2.88 ERA. 6 games. He's been in 6. He started 6 innings pitched, 34 1/3, 30 hits, 12 runs, 11 earned runs, 4 homers, 1 hit by pitch, 13 walks, and 36 strikeouts. He's got a whip of 1.25. I mean, and he was coming on at the end of last season. At what point, just so we know, for our own peace of mind, just so the Phillies organization knows, for their own peace of mind, at what point do you not just go down and get him? Just throw the guy a bone at this particular moment in his career. It's time. There's nothing more Mick Abel can prove or not prove at the minor league level. He's got to show it in the major league level. And I don't understand. I've never seen anything like it. Michael Papernick, I guess, enlightened me about this a few weeks ago because I was patient with the Phillies minor leagues. I've always been patient with the Phillies minor leagues. But now that I think about it, and now that I really sit down and pay attention to it, I've never seen a baseball club or organization use so little of their prospects. Now, was there a gap where we didn't have the prospects to use? Yeah, there was. But that gap has been closed. It's time. What's happening up here is not working. It's time to inject some new blood into it just to see, man, what worse could you get from what you have down there. And in Mick Abel's case, isn't it time to see what he can do for just to be done with it, just to move on from him if he's not working out, so he can move on with his career? I don't get it. And none of the vaunted Philadelphia sports media, none of those worthless hypocrites, none of those worthless keep the status quo. I don't want to lose my meal ticket. I don't want to get banned from the stadium. None of those worthless sports media personalities want to ask the question. Or if they ask it, they let it go and they don't follow up on it. I would be asking it every single night. Rob, give me an update. Who's coming? Who do you think is close to being ready to pitch or play in the major leagues? Because until this thing gets fixed, and I don't think it's getting fixed with the players we have up here. It's frustrating to see when you have a wealth of young talent that's literally pushing for an opportunity. They're getting their heads pushed down. So I agree with you, Star Wars. Very long answer to your question or your statement. The bullpen does blow. When would the Phillies move Turner off shortstop? He's a lazy fielder with too many bad habits. I'd rather see Stott or Sosa as short. See, Stott's not an everyday guy, though, man. And that's the issue here. Stott's not an everyday guy. Aiden Miller is. Aiden Miller's an everyday guy, but Aiden Miller's not ready to come up here. But Stott's not, or Sosa's not an everyday player at any position. And if you're going to incorporate Armando Sosa as one of your everyday guys, then we're not winning a World Series. We're not a World Series team if that's where we're going. And I'm not saying that's a reason not to move Turner off short. He has been a disaster as a shortstop since he's been here. He was never like a Gold Glover to begin with, but he was not committing errors the way he has since he's been in Philadelphia. I don't know what the answer is with the shortstop because we don't have much depth or major league talent that's ready to come up to play shortstop. I don't know what you do there. You may have to try something like that. Move Turner's ass into the outfield, man. Put him in center field. Put Trey Turner in center field. I don't care at this point, man. Start making errors out there. But I feel you, man. And you're right. He's lazy. He just fundamentally doesn't know how to play shortstop at any level. And, but what's the answer, though? I don't think Sosa is the answer. I don't think Sosa's an everyday guy. And if you're going that route, if you're going to say, Armando Sosa, you're on my everyday shortstop, then you're telling Major League Baseball, you're telling the Phillies faithful, we ain't winning a World Series because we are so deprived of depth at shortstop that we're going to go with a bench player as our everyday guy. So I disagree with moving Sosa in an everyday role, but I do agree with your Turner comment. Ah, man. Stott came in and got a huge walk there at the end of the game. Huge walk to kind of keep the rally going. And I was concerned, man, because I wasn't feeling his at bat up to that, what was it, 0-2, and he was over swinging, tried to tie the game with one swing there earlier in the at bat. I was like, oh no. We're done with small ball. Come on, we've come such a long way in such a short time. Don't send us back there, Bryson. But to his credit, he worked that walk, kept things rolling, and the Phillies came up huge. And I'm not taking away the win. I'm not taking away, them coming back and fighting their way back into this game and then into a win. I'm not going to – it's baseball, and you know what? Yeah, I said it. And you got to get the wins where you can get the wins. But I think Steve said it in the show. This can't be how, they can't expect to win games like this against teams like the Braves, the Mets, the Dodgers, teams like that. They got to play better, and they got to play a full game. When was the last time you could sit down and say, you know what, the Phillies played a full 9 innings today? A full quality 9 innings, offensively, defensively, and pitching. When was the last time that you could say that about this team. It's been years. Honestly, it's been years. There's hotness in the beginning, there's death in the middle, and then there's either death at the end or they come alive at the end. It's a recipe. It's an MO that this team has kind of inherited over the last few seasons. They're not a complete team, and they don't play complete baseball. And that's not fixing itself. And I guess they're trying to fix it by sending out the same guys every day. But that's really not going to happen, man. That's not going to happen. I hope Stott is not hurt because Finnegan. Yeah, that was an odd play. I saw him there at the end, getting looked at. He had his oven mitt on. I guess the oven mitt doesn't work, or they say the oven mitt came off. I think that thing is garbage anyway. Is that what happened? The oven mitt came off, and he got his hand crushed by the pitcher there. Ballsy play at the end of the game, going for it there on the wild pitch. I do like that. And again, going back to the credit part, I have seen a difference in this team over the last 3 games. I have. And the small ball difference, the contact, they're not at least they're out there looking like they want to win. So I've got to give them the credit there. And, but yeah, you're right. That was a little scary, but he got sat on there at the end of the game. But a ballsy play, what was it? There was 3 of them in this game, right? You had Bohm tagging up there. Was it the tying run, right? When on the shallow fly ball to right field, he would have been dead out, by the way. Dead out. I mean, if Ruiz comes up with that ball, he's dead out and the game is over, man. But he didn't come up with a beautiful throw out there in right field to try to gun down Bohm. But the catcher just couldn't make the play. But boy, oh boy, he was dead man. But yeah, you know what? You push the envelope, and sometimes you like the results. But then you had Rojas. Well, no, that wasn't. No, you had Bohm. You had Stott. No, you had Bohm, Stott, and then there was the third one. Was it Rojas the third one? Where he was going. He comes around third full steam, and then he pulls up at the last minute, and then he goes again. Whatever, man. He almost screwed that up too. But no, it was a ballsy play, ballsy running, ballsy aggressive baseball from this team over the last 3 games, and you got to give that there. They show that they have a pulse at least, and they seem to keep wanting to fight back. So that's a positive to pull out of this. There's a couple other positives too. Adam, how are you? Oh, Adam, I did do some research. So you have an 86 Reggie White Topps. That's a rookie card, man. That's a pretty good card. The problem with your card, though, and it's not the quality of the card. The card looked pretty good to me. I don't know because I'd have to actually physically see it. But it's a wax stack card. I mean, it's from the old generation of wax cards, right? And by definition, they're not very valuable unless you have a Michael Jordan rookie or an 86 Jordan or an 87 Jordan. You have the 52 Mantle. Cards like that, the Holy Grail cards. And it's unfortunate because if Reggie White had played today and with the era of cards and the way they're made with the refractors and all the different parallels that they do with cards, you'd be sitting on about a $20,000 base football card. But the research that I did and the 2 most vaunted databases that I use, as a PSA 9, that card grades out. There's somebody out there trying to sell it for $5,000. And as a 7 or 8, it was $3,000. But then I saw it at a 7 for $30. I mean, it's all up and down the scale of how much you could possibly get for that card. My suggestion to you would be to research PSA, figure out it's a real simple process of how to send a card in to be professionally graded. They'll do it. They'll send it back to you. And then I would either take it to a show, a card show. I would maybe stick it on eBay at around try to auction it on eBay, starting price at about say $500. I would sort of try to test the market with it, depending on what the grade of the card is. If you're sitting on a 9 or a 9.5 or a 10, you might be sitting on about a $5,000 football card. If you're sitting on a lesser number than that, maybe $100, maybe $150. But it's hard to gauge the market on Reggie White rookie cards because there's a lot of them, but not a lot of them have sold because they're in various conditions. So I would either, first and foremost, I'd send it out to PSA for grading. When they give it back to you, kind of go from there. And once they send it back to you, contact me and I'll give you the next step to go. But you got a nice card and it's got some value. So I hope that helped you out. Oh man. I like Turner, but he makes too many errors. Does make too many errors, but offensively tonight, what was his line? He was he was 4 for 4. 4 for 4 on the night with an RBI. His average is up to 290. By the way, he's leading off tonight as the leadoff carousel continues. For those of you keeping track at home, like I am, Trey Turner has now led off on the season 7 times. Stott's leading the way at 12. Schwarber's got 9, and now Turner's at 7. And the Phillies, through 29 games, have only come up with the same lineup in multiple games or in consecutive games 6 times all season long. Maybe that's a problem too. 29 games, and they've only had the same lineup out there for consecutive games 6 times. That doesn't work for me. And how can players get comfortable when you're constantly moving them around? So, but I agree. I'm getting tired of the Trey Turner machine. And it's something that's become part of his game lately. Joe Hale, what's going on, man? Loves the hustle from Stott. Yeah, it was a great play at the end, man. And, but how much do you give credit to Bryson Stott, and how much credit do we give to the Nationals bullpen? Jesus Christ, man. Talk about frustrating. Thank God we're not Nationals fans. Good night. Oh, my God, man. That was terrible out there. There was the Mets destroyed Washington bullpen yesterday. 20 runs by the Phillies. Have to win on a wild card. Yeah, Barbara, you're preaching to the choir here. And as I said this, they're a nice little story right now, the Phillies. And with the win tonight, they've secured an over 500 April, which in Matty B's world is okay. I'll live with that. I can accept that. But when we're looking holistically at this season, what are they averaging? What are they on pace for now? 85, 86 wins, which is not far off from my 88 that I predicted. But October doesn't scream from this baseball team. I envision an October of me sitting on my couch, banging my head against the wall. Now that's normally, but this would be watching baseball. And I don't see NL East champion. I mean, I don't see a team that can advance any further than the first round. This can't be it, right? I mean, I know baseball is it's a marathon. It's an up and down type situation. You go through your good times and your bad times. You add pieces along the way. You take away pieces out and what have you. But I just don't like the nucleus of this team. I really don't. And it's been for a while now. What does Bryce Harper actually do? He almost made a really good defensive play on that, on the Turner error. Or by the way, that was not an error on Turner, right? I mean, I know he got dinged for an error early in the game, but on that play at first, where he pulls Harper off the bag and Harper comes around and tries to swipe tag, that was almost like a really good play, a really, really, really good play, and it didn't work out, but. I don't know what Bryce Harper actually does. He's come up clutch a couple times this season, but still nowhere near what he should be. We don't talk about Bryce Harper at all. You notice that? We don't talk about Bryce Harper. Yeah, that's a good point, Barbara. Can Otto Kemp get a look? Can he? I'm like, I don't know. He plays third base and he can play first. I mean, he's multifaceted in the infield. I wouldn't mind having him sitting on the bench. It's playing for Bone, playing for Harper when Harper needs a break. You're right. Otto Kemp is pounding the ball down in the Lehigh Valley. He's 9 home runs on the year. He had 2 tonight. And I understand, the transition from AAA to Major League Baseball. I'm not saying Otto Kemp's going to come up here and hit 75 home runs this year. I'm not saying that. But he might, at the very minimum, put Alec Bohm on notice by saying, now I have to challenge. Now I got someone challenge me for some playing time, and I better stop not being able to play baseball. Right? I got a kid who's got nothing to lose, because the worst that can happen to Otto Kemp is to get sent right back down. All right? There's nothing to lose from Otto Kemp, and maybe that also lights a fire on the Bryce Harper's ass. I don't know. But with this team, and as soft as they are, they made that move might, backfire. And they may revolt against Rob Thompson. Sit there in the locker room and hold their breath till they turn blue. Throw a temper tantrum. You know what I mean? I don't know. I honestly don't know what the answer is, Mike. But that's not true. I do think I know what the answer is, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that God, and I pray this every night, that Dave Dombrowski's not watching this AAA stuff and then pushing it out onto the internet so other teams can see these players. I pray to God that Dombrowski's not going to revert back to his old ways and he's going to gut out this minor league system come time to make trades. I really, really hope that doesn't happen. And if it does, and I've been worried about this since February. I've been worried about that potential since February, that Dombrowski is going to use the leverage of some really good prospects who are major league ready right now and trade them out for some, a bullpen arm here and there or a bench bat or something like that, and just put this organization right back to where we were before Dombrowski showed up. And I pray to God that that's not what happens. I really do. I'd rather have them just sit in AAA until we can fire Dombrowski and Thompson and get a guy in here to rebuild this thing from the right way. But I pray to God that the answer is about Otto Kemp, about Mick Abel, about Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford. You can throw Mikado in there. You could throw Edmondo Taid in there. Some of these really high leverage prospects that were really starting to kind of bang a drum down there in the minor leagues. I hope Dave Dombrowski is not licking his lips saying, oh yeah, baby, I'm trading your ass. I really, really do hope that's not the answer. I know you are, Ricky. You're always watching, man. That's why I love you, brother. I love you. All right, so let's get back to the protocol of the show, because we're getting away from that. But tonight, on your day in Philadelphia sports history, the 29th of April, we go back to the ripe year of 1989 and the Flyers, because we were on the precipice as Flyer fans in 89. I don't know if you guys remember the 89 season. I don't know if you were around to remember the 89 season, but I was, and I do. We were on the doorstep of a very dark time in Flyer hockey that would begin the year after that. The Flyers wouldn't make the playoffs for 5 years. You've heard that story before. But back when I was 16 in 89, that was new. I was not accustomed to that happening at all. The Flyers were always in the playoffs when I was growing up, and they were in the cup finals twice. So what would happen after the 89 season was something new for me. And unfortunately, now it's become all too familiar. But back in 89, the Flyers were able to get into the playoffs that year. Very uninspiring record, regular season. They were a 500 team in 89. 88, 89, they were 36, 8, and got into the playoffs. Battled the Penguins in the first round. Were down in the series 3-2, but then battled their way back to tie the series up at 3, and then won the game 7, and 4-1 to move on into the second round. And that happened on this night back in 89. The Flyers beat the Penguins in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference. I think it was the semis. The divisional finals. So it was, I guess it would be the semis. The Flyers would then go on to play they played the Capitals in the first round. They played the Penguins in the second round. And they would go on to play the Canadiens in the Eastern Conference finals. Now, that was the Chris Chelios, Brian Propp hit, and then the Ron Hextall revenge hit at the end of the series in Game 6 when the Flyers were about to lose. So, and then that would set off a chain reaction of events that would send the Flyers down to hell until Eric Lindros showed up, and then a few years after that. So, on this night, the Flyers defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins to advance into the Eastern Conference Finals back in 1989, coming back from a 3-2 game series deficit and then winning Game 7 tonight 4-1. So there you go. There's your day in Philadelphia sports history. An all too familiar Flyer fact of playoff drought approaching. So hope you enjoyed that. Did a lot of research on that one. Toss up between Marlins and National, and who's worse, hard to call. Both are bad, like Pirates and Rockies. Yeah, and then, we've had our struggles with both. Can you call Ricky? I did, man. Ricky Deal. Which card of Reggie White is worth more than Eagles pick a year? Which card of Reggie White is worth more than Eagles pick a year or a 1996 Packers Super Bowl card? Probably 96, actually, Barbara, because of as I alluded to earlier in my breakdown to Adam. Adam sent me a picture of a card he had. It was an 86 Topps Reggie White rookie. wearing 91, by the way. He's wearing number 91, which makes that card, for Eagles fans at least, uber cool. But I would say 96 because 96 was the post-wax era when they started doing digital cards and they started making cards a little bit more high-end. I would probably say that card financially. But Adam's sitting on a potential $5,000 football card if that card grades out correctly. And if that card grades out 9, 9, 5, 10, somewhere in that area, he could have a $5,000 football card. So, but I would say raw, if you're going to try to sell it straight up, yeah, maybe the 96 Reggie White card, because it was a post-wax era card. So I guess Stott is a part-time player. Why would that be? Phillies are healthy too. Mets have no starting pitching. They probably have to make trades to survive. Phillies are healthy. Mets their starting pitching is going to be their downfall this year. I agree with you, Barbara. But our downfall is on display every day. Our downfall has been on display every day since London of last year. It's this wishy-washy way they play offense. Our defense is suspect. I could not believe what I was watching tonight defensively from this baseball team. I honestly could not believe it. And I don't know, and I wish I did, what is the repercussions to defensive play like that? You know, it's not like this is Rojas's first go-around with ineptitude in center field. And it's obviously not Trey Turner's first go-around with kicking the ball around either. So what is the accountability to these two players tonight after multiple errors? And again, who was running the error card at Major League Baseball that did not assign the Phillies should have been assessed with 4 errors tonight. 4! And they got 1. What soft ass general is that person like 25 years old that's making decisions about errors? I mean, good God, man. Matty, at least Bohm plays most games while Stott is a part-time player who gets standing ovations for walks, stolen bases, etc. I see it. But Barbara, I'm not a believer in Bryson Stott. I've never been a believer in Bryson Stott. I'm not disagreeing with you. I like his defense. Bryson Stott plays a hell of a mean defense. But you're right. I mean, you know, if you're asking me to choose between Bohm and Stott, I'm choosing Stott. Bohm's garbage. I hate Bohm. I can't stand Bohm. Bohm is nothing here anymore. But you're right. I'm not in love with Stott. I agree with you. We have holes all over the place. And we have potential fills of those holes playing in AAA. But I don't know what you want from me, Barbara. I agree 100%. 100%. Andrew Painter starts Thursday. So they bypassed Redding and sent him right down to Lehigh Valley. Well, he's going to be there for a little while. I think he's probably going to get 4 to 5 starts there. But that's must-see TV. Andrew Painter, as reported by Joe Hale, will be starting for the Iron Pigs on Thursday. Good win from the Phillies tonight. Ricky, it was a win. Any win's a good win, right? It's a win. I'll give you that, Ricky. 100% I'll give you that. All right. But a lot of things to kind of chew on the Phillies tonight, right? You know, they got that. They have a win streak now, 3 in a row. They've secured 500 or better for the month of April. They are leaving the month healthy. There are some things to be happy about. There are some things to be positive about. And as I said, even they backed their way, they snatched victory from defeat, then defeat from victory, then victory from defeat again. They found a way to win. But the scrappiness of this team over the last 3 games has been very impressive to me. A team that left New York dead, floating in the water. I mean, dead. And they went into Chicago in that first game. They were dead then. And then they've been a very aggressive, contact-driven, station-to-station baseball team since then. And I got to give that. And that's something to be impressed with, something to be very excited about. And if there's anything or something that I'm going to hold on to is that. And as long as I keep seeing that night for night from the Phillies, maybe there is still hope. Maybe there's still hope we can scratch something out. Bryce Harper was bunting tonight. Bunting. That blew my mind. Blew my mind when he laid down a bunt. Has he ever done that in his career? But they had him do that. And you know what? That might be a sign of some great, great things to come for this baseball team as they head into the month of May, because May is the month where you build upon your 500 or better April. You build that momentum and you start on your journey to a World Series title. Are the Phillies up to that task? We'll have to wait and see, but you know, it is what it is. But Phillies win 7-6 tonight. Zach Wheeler was dominant. Get lost in all this was Zach Wheeler's once again dominant performance. He's so dominant that I've named him as my 5th starter in my all-time Phillies rotation. You guys, I ran that stat or ran that segment a few months ago, whatever it was. And Zach Wheeler was my 5th starter all time in this franchise. I think he's the 5th best starting pitcher we've had ever here in Philadelphia. And he continues to prove that correct every single time he gets the ball. Tonight was no different. As he pitched really well, but doesn't even factor into the win. Kirkering gets the win. That's a kick in the ass for you, huh? But the Phillies do win, and that's good. And before we break on to our next segment, let me remind everybody that Sunday morning, your wait or the wait is over. The PNM and the AM program returns to the airwaves exclusively here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Pat Bernard, Mike Laro, and Big Al Zafiri producing will get your Sunday mornings back to where they should be, and that is in chaos and in constant state of flux and disagreement and good old healthy debate. So Sunday morning at 9 a.m., May 4th, may the 4th be with you. Pat Bernard and Mike Laro will return to the airwaves, and the PNM and the AM program will make its debut here on It's a Wrap. And I am truly, from the bottom of my heart, and this is not MattyB, this is Matt speaking. I could not be happier and more excited to welcome the PNM and the AM program to this network. The first crown in our jewel, I would have to say. So I'm welcoming them back, and I will be watching. Oh, I'll be watching. I watch everything. But there you go. PNM and the AM. Maybe I'll learn how to say the name of the show. Sunday. All right. Let's move on to my other segment of the night. Again, this show is open-ended tonight. If you guys want to bring up a topic, let's talk it. But if you don't, I'm going to transition to the next topic that I want to talk about. And that is this Eagles White House visit. It was done today. Saquon Barkley took some time with the president over the last couple of days, played golf with the man, hung out with him, whatever. And then today the team was there. Most of the team was there at the White House, minus their starting quarterback. And last night, I believe it was Barbara who brought it up. And I want to apologize to Barbara. I want to apologize to everybody, actually, because when you're running a sports show, you try to keep politics and sensitive topics out of the conversation. And I'm wrong to say that, because I have no right to tell anybody out there what to say or what to think. If you want to bring up the topic, we'll talk it. If it does become too charged, then I'll get away from it. But I am never going to tell somebody not what to say or how to say it or what not to bring to the table. Other people out there claim that they are all about the people and all about expressing opinions, but they're not. They're hypocritical. They're fascist in their own rights. They just want to drive the conversation to fit their own narrative. That's not me. All right. I'm a lot of things, but one thing that I am not is a hypocrite. And if you guys want to talk about a topic on this program, whatever that topic may be, we'll entertain it. Right. But as far as the Jalen Hurts thing, I said it last night that it's, to each his own about whether or not they wanted to appear at the White House and be part of that celebration. And I said, you know what? The man has his own beliefs, and I'm not sitting here that he should compromise his own beliefs, but I am going to sit here and say he should have compromised his own beliefs, because here's the thing. You're a leader, a so-called leader of this team. You're the face of the franchise. You are one of Time Magazine's most influential people of the year, right? And you're going to say, you know what? My needs are greater than the team's needs. My needs are greater than the city's needs. And I am not going to appear at the White House for X and Y reasons. I don't know the reasons, whatever the case may be. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to connect the dots, right? So to me, that's a coward move. That's not a leader. That is not the uber definition of being a leader, is to sacrifice your own personal safety, your own personal needs, your own personal likes for the betterment of whoever it is you're leading, right? And I have a pretty good idea of how to lead. I led people in some of the most hell and back is basically where I've led people. And never once, there was a million times I didn't want to be with them. There's a million times that I didn't want to step in their footprints. But as a leader, as the person they looked at to be if he's there, if he's with us, then guess what? It's probably not that bad because at least we have him to lean on, our leader. And I was there for them. Might not have liked it, but I was there. And that's exactly what I feel Jalen Hurts should have done with this White House business. Whatever his personal issues were, you put them aside for the betterment of the team, the betterment of the city, and the betterment for your fan base. Because now you got homers out there who have rallied to Jalen. I don't want to hear anybody tell me that Jalen Hurts is a leader ever again. I will never, ever accept any part of what Jalen Hurts supposedly his leadership qualities are ever again because of what this move represents to me. It doesn't represent I hate Donald Trump, I hate the current status of the White House, I hate the current status of the country, whatever. It means I am above the needs of my team, so I'm not going to the White House. That's not a leader. I don't care what you tell me. And don't ever try to sell me on the fact that he's a leader. I don't want to hear it from anybody. And if you ever try to sell me the leadership qualities, I'm going to point to this incident, because you cannot do something like this, but yet at the same time call yourself a leader. So kudos to the rest of the Eagles that went. Kudos to Jeff Lurie, who went. Kudos to Lane Johnson, who stood there with the jersey they were going to give him. Kudos to the rest of the team, the rest of the leaders of that football team that were true leaders in this situation. And you know what? Jalen Hurts, you're a game manager, and now you're not a leader. So what are you for this football team? And that's my piece on that. I felt obligated to tell you that. I really did. Oh, man. Where is Sal? Hope everything is okay. So, Adam, Sal is no longer with the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Sal has decided for personal reasons, family reasons, to step away completely from the network. And we obviously here support him 100%. And the door is always open for Sal to return. And I've already expressed that to him multiple times, multiple ways. And, but for now, Sal is going to step out. And we're going to move on without him, but he will always be with us. And whenever he wants to return, he's more than welcome to come back. So that's where Sal is these days. NHL draft lottery, where are the chances the Flyers get the number one pick overall? I think it's like 9%. They got 9% shot of getting the number one pick overall, but they have a really good chance of picking up Joe, one of the 4 day one guys that could start in the NHL next year. There's 4 of them. There's Matthew Schaefer, there's Michael Misa, Roger McQueen, and James Higgins. Those are all 4 players that are projected out to be day one contributors to an NHL franchise next season. And the Flyers have a real good shot of landing one of those 4. Misa, Higgins, and McQueen are all centers, and Schaefer's a defenseman, a left-handed defenseman. And I know I've heard so-called Flyer experts tell me that the Flyers are more prone to pick the best player available. I disagree. If the Flyers don't pick a center, I'm gonna freak out. And Danny B is not going to be able to justify not selecting one of these centers. McQueen, 6'5", 225 pounds, a very reminiscent of an Eric Lindros build to him. And he has the same type of quick hands. He's an above average skater with a nose for the net. I would love Roger McQueen anchoring the first line of the Flyer future. James Higgins is a little bit smaller, a lot faster, a little bit more of a facilitator than a goal scorer. He's not a clog the net kind of guy. He's sort of like maybe in the same ilk as what's his name from the San Jose Sharks last year, Celebrini, the first round pick or the first overall pick last season. But he would do well. Misa's a lot smaller centerman, but he's got lightning fast, and he's got lightning hands. So, and then Schaefer's a generational left-handed defenseman who projects out to be like a Paul Coffey comp for those older people out there in the room that might know who Paul Coffey is. All 4 of them project out to be number one or day one contributors to your team. So I hope the Flyers are able to get to get one of those 4. AJ Brown didn't go either. Well, didn't his car get stolen? He had no way to get there. Again, I'm not aware. I know not all of them went, and I know there was a group of players. I don't know specifically all the players that did not go, but you gravitate to the main one, right? The face of the franchise, the quarterback. Yeah, I mean, AJ Brown claims to be a leader too. We all know it. Listen, at least with the AJ Brown thing, there wasn't much of a discussion about the fact that he wasn't a leader. But there's a big part of the Eagle fan base that thinks Jalen Hurts is a leader. And I hope that this incident has kind of opened their eyes a little bit. The fact that he's not a leader, regardless of what his personal feelings were, he didn't put them ahead of the team. And as the quarterback, number one, I mean, again, I'm sorry. Maybe I was raised in a different world. Maybe I was raised on a different plane, but that is a coward move in my book. NHL draft lottery is Monday. Yeah, so we're going to find out Monday where the Flyers pick. There's a slight chance the Flyers could fall to 6, but there's a better chance they're going to either stay at 4 or move up. So here's hoping for 4 or up. I don't want 6, but here's hoping for 4 or up. Matty, Stott doesn't play against good pitchers. They protect him because he cries. Jeez. Woo. Barbara coming out hard with that one. I agree with you. I don't think you should lead off, right? Steve has said this multiple times. His bat speed is not – he doesn't have quick enough hands. He doesn't barrel the ball quick enough. And I agree with you, Barbara. Again, I am not at all advocating if we can move all the way from Stott, go ahead. Let's do it. But if you're asking me to choose between Stott or Bohm, I'm saying Bohm, right? They're not going to move off of any of them, and that's the sad part. But I agree, they're not. Stott is not projected, and he do you remember the Chase Utley talk? The Chase Utley talk? Remember that a few years ago? We were talking about how he's Chase Utley comparable. He's the next man. I mean, remember that, Barbara? Remember that nonsense? Oh my God! There's only one player that matters didn't attend, and remember, we won't talk about it, right? Who's that? Is that no, we can talk. No, I just apologize, Barbara. I don't know if you heard me. About 10 minutes ago, you brought it up last night, and I kind of shooed you away, and I apologize for that because that was the wrong thing to do. So I just went on a tirade about that, and I think you're it's very clever how you did that. But we all know number one didn't show up, and I think it's wrong. And again, regardless of what your personal feelings are, you're the face of the franchise. You're the leader of the team. The team rallies around you. Why weren't you there to rally around them? And I think it's a coward move. And I've never thought Jalen Hurts was a leader, but a lot of the homers did. A lot of the homers kind of used that leadership quality to kind of offset some of his on the field stuff, lacking stuff on the field. But now how can you do that now? How can you sit here and tell me Jalen Hurts is a leader when he could not even, man up to this situation? But I agree with you, Barbara. Barkley went because he respects the office of the president. Respects the office of the president. Respects his team. It's raining here. I didn't close the windows. Thanks, babe. Respects the team. Respects what it's all about. Respects the fact that they're being honored as a team. It's not about Charles Barkley. It's not about Jalen Hurts. It's about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's about being acknowledged as the Super Bowl champions. And that's why Charles Barkley, the generations that Barkley's from. Barkley grew up. Go ahead. Barkley grew up. By the way, there's my wife. She's drying up the windowsill because I left it open. Barkley is a generation. Barkley comes from the same type of generation I came. They were raised different than they are today. And, I fear that the visit to the White House, the annual ritual that every championship team in America goes through, gets the opportunity. Because again, like I said last night, when the hell are you going to get the opportunity to go to the White House and the Oval Office and the Rose Garden and all those cool places? Not regular. Too many people can say they've been inside those places. But I fear that the way this country's going and the way this thing is leaning, that eventually it's going to go away completely, and no teams are going to go to the White House. And that's sad, man. That's pathetic. because it's never about the person, as you said, Adam, as Barkley said. It's not about the individual that's the president. It's about the office. It's about what it represents. It's about the leader of the country, or I should say the lead representative of the country. And it's about going out there and showing that we were the best in our sport this particular time, this particular era, this particular season, and we're being recognized by the lead representative of our country for that achievement. It's not about your own personal agenda, about you're pro-Trump, or anti-Trump, you're pro-Biden, anti-Biden, whatever that case is. You stick that crap in your back pocket and you go and you show for your team and for your city and for your colors. And right now, Jalen Hurts is a coward. And he's not a leader. Don't ever tell me he's a leader again. Hurts kept his own marriage a secret too. He's a strange, weirdo guy. Did he really? I don't know, Barbara. I mean, I wasn't too fond of, or too on the, about making my marriage out there. So I gotta relate a little bit. But no. Yeah, he is a weirdo guy, man. I agree. The way he talks, his press conferences, all monotone. And listen, I should record him stuff and make me fall asleep by it, because he's got a very soothing voice. I got to give him that. But there you go. There's my Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in the White House talk. And I want to thank Barbara specifically for enlightening me, or bringing it to my attention, that I tried to shoot the conversation, or shut that conversation down last night because it was about politics. I will not do that anymore. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever, will be talked about on this program. This is an open forum, an open airwave. We're adults, and we can handle ourselves that way. You can bring up any conversation or any topic you want, because I'm not a hypocrite. I don't tell you that you have freedom of speech here and then take it away. I'm never going to do that. That's I don't even know what that is. Socialism, it's communism. It's not who I am. So that was my Jalen Hurts to the White House. Disgraceful behavior by the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, if I offended anybody, oh well. Ain't the first time. Good talk, Matty. Thank you very much. All right, let's go now to our Of the Night segment on this beautiful Tuesday evening here on the program. Yeah. The other night segment last night, I believe we went back into the MLB draft. Now we're going to focus once again on one of my favorite topics, and that's Phillies prospects. I like to believe I have a thumb on that, as I spent a lot of time tracking these guys, and we're going to go all the way down to the rookie leagues tonight, man. We're going to the Florida Complex League, who, by the way, will kick off their season on Friday, May 3rd, or Saturday, May 3rd. So that would be official that all levels of the Phillies minor leagues are in play as of this Saturday. The Florida Complex League, which is they call rookie ball now, has not begun play, but they will start on Saturday. The FCL Phillies, that they call themselves, will start play. And tonight, our Philly prospects, one of our featured Phillies prospect, hails from the FCL Phillies, and that is the catching prospect, Alfredo Ferrybus. He's a catcher, a right-handed hitter. Ferrybus has a good swing and is already showing a penchant. I love the $5 words for barreling up the baseball and registering big-time exit velo. He's a strong and physical with a good swing, geared for contact. He limits swing and miss with a career 14.4% strikeout rate to show for it, and has shown the ability to drive the ball to all fields. Next up in his development will be to get him to add some loft with more. So Alfredo Ferrybus, a very young catching prospect at the bottom of the Philly minor league system. It could be years, if at all, he shows up in Philadelphia. But it's good to see that we're stocking up on certain positions. Catcher was a position of devoidness on this franchise for a very long time, but now we got with Tate, coming up. We got a couple players in the middle ranges of the minor leagues. Jordan Disson is a player that I've been keeping an eye on. He plays for Reading. He could have a potential of being a backup at the major league level, or at the very least bit of decent trade value for somebody else. And now we've added this young man here who's 18 or 17 years old, and he'll be playing the season for the FCL Phillies. If all goes well, he'll end up the season with the Clearwater Threshers, and hopefully his journey to the majors will begin. But there you go, our Phillies prospect of the night, Afiro Ferribus, the catcher for the FCL Phillies, as the Phillies are gearing up and restocking in certain positions as we move forward into the 21st century. Oh, man. We got our wish. Marsh was sent down today. Really? I could have sworn I saw Brandon Marsh on the bench today, Joe. Did that just happen? I could have sworn when Rojas was the home run? No, it was a sac fly. I could have sworn I saw him hugging Marsh on the bench. That just happened? That would be great if that's the case. If he got sent down, then who got sent up? Somebody's coming up, right? Please don't let it be Cal Stevenson. Joe, you open up a can of worms with that, man. You need to backfill the reporting. I need to know all the deets on that, man. But as for per Joe Howe, Brandon Marsh has been sent down. Interesting. Let's move on to our final segment, my favorite. Yeah, the MattyB card review segment of the program. Maybe I should have saved the whole Adam Cease, Reggie White rookie card for this, but I couldn't wait because when he showed me that card, it was by a pitcher, by the way. And by the way, Adam, if you don't want the card, send it to me. I'll take it off your hands. But when he showed me the card, I got all excited. And so I did some research, and I wanted to relay that information on to him as fast as I could. So, but tonight's card review, we've been on baseball for a while. We're going to pivot off baseball tonight. We're going to go to hockey. And we're going to go to a player that I remember back in the day, back in his time in the 90s. It gave me fits when he was a member of the Rangers. Russian defenseman, as the Iron Curtain had fallen and all these Russian players were making their way into the NHL. He was definitely one of the top tier players to, migrate over to America. Not, in the Fedorov lane, or any of the other Detroit Red Wings of that time, but definitely a very good quality player whose career somewhat fizzled out. I mean, he had a decent career. I thought it could have been a little bit better, but it sort of hit a peak with him, but still a great player. And this is a great card because it features it's his World Junior Championship card of 1992 of him wearing the old Russian CCP uniform. That's right. The communist era. I think it might have been one of the last years that they were the CCP, but this is a cool card. And when I came across it in my collection, I was like, you know what, it ain't worth a thing, but it's just cool. And here it is. It's the 1992 Darius Kasparaitis card. This is his World Juniors card from Upper Deck in 92. And there you go, the old CCP, man. The only thing missing is the old hammer and sickle. But the old Russian Soviet Union uniform, I have a card of that. And that to me is a collectible item as it is. But Kasparaitis was a very good, talented defenseman in his day, mainly spent with the Rangers, but he bounced around throughout his career, spent time with the Islanders, Penguins, Avalanche. Then he went back to Russia and kind of finished out his career out there. Gave the Flyers fits throughout his time here. On this career, he scored 136 goals, 163 assists for 863 games played. He was a good player, man. I really enjoyed him. And as I said, gave the Flyers fits. His achievements: he was a gold medalist for the Russians in 92 at Albertville. He was a silver medalist in Nagano for the Russians, and he was a bronze in 02 in Salt Lake City. He also was a gold medal winner for the Russian junior team in Lithuania in 2018. And as a junior in 92 in Germany, gold medalist. And this is where that card is taken from, that tournament. And 91 in Canada as a silver medalist, again, World Junior. So Darius Kasparaitis is tonight's card of the night, our card review. And again, the card is worth absolutely nothing. It's about a $3 card. But look at it. I mean, how could I say no to this card? The big CCP written across the front kind of has that old Miracle of Ice, that kind of feel to it. And Kasparaitis was a really good player. And this is his predates his rookie card. So this was an upper deck card of 92. About a $3 card, not really expensive. If you flip over the back of this card, and I'll show you the back of it in here in a second, it's got him in his red uniform. So you got the white in the front, and then you got him in the red in the back. Just a really smart looking card from Upper Deck. And again, not worth more than a couple, $3 on most databases or most sites. But there you have it. And here it is in its physical form, the 92 World Juniors, Darius Kasparaitis Upper Deck card. Again, there's the front with the white, and then here's the back of him in the red. Anybody who's got a card of a Russian hockey player wearing CCP or hammer and sickle or any of that kind of stuff, it's got value to me. And there you got the card of the night, or the card review of the night, Darius Kasparaitis, a very good defenseman who I think somewhat fizzled out towards the end of his career. And I hope you enjoyed that. Tommy Brady didn't go see the President Trump after the Patriots won Super Bowl because of personal and family matters, and nobody complained. Listen, Michael, what's the reason then? I mean, has Jalen Hurts given a explanation? Was there an emergency? Would somebody die? I mean, I think that you would want to do that to your fan base, right? Obviously, Tom Brady did. Now, maybe they'll come up with a reason for why he didn't come. But on the surface, it looks like he took the coward's way out. And I'm sorry. And that's not me, man. That's the statue of life, or the station of life, and the career he chose to be a franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's certain things you got to put yourself out in front of, right? And I'm sorry. If there was a personal emergency, absolutely, I got you there. But you might want to let somebody know, because we are the society we are, and we're going to judge. And I'm judging. You're damn right I'm judging, because a leader doesn't do stuff like this, in my opinion. Tom Brady also didn't go to the White House when Obama was president after winning Super Bowl. Nobody complained. Tom Brady doesn't play for the Eagles. Okay, Mike, I have my this is my personal take. I'm not saying it's yours, or it's got to be yours, or you have to agree with me. I'm not saying any of that. From my standpoint, from my foxhole, I think this is a coward move, and I don't think he's a leader. And that's just how I feel. I'm entitled to that, just as you were entitled to your opinion. So I don't care what Tom Brady did. I don't care essentially what Charles Barkley did. I don't care what any of them do. I care about what the Eagles do. I guess I did care what Charles Barkley didn't win a title with the Sixers, but I don't care. I care about this situation. To me, it's a coward move. It said Marsh is doing a rehab assignment, but left the game yesterday with a hamstring strain and being evaluated tomorrow. Adam, am I in a time? Dude, I saw him in the clubhouse today. I know he was in Lehigh on an IL stint, but I saw him in the Phillies damn locker or dugout tonight. He was hugging Johan Rojas. I swear to God, it was him. I know he got sent down for rehab. Matter of fact, he was batting like 140 for the Iron Pace. Wasn't hitting down there either. I could have, dude. I saw him now in the dugout tonight, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was another guy who looked like Brandon Marsh, who had a long, straggly beard and long brown hair. I don't know, but there you go. Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe I'm slipping to my age, man. I don't know, guys. You guys are killing me. All right, that's good to wrap it up, folks. I want to thank you for coming out tonight, being part of the program. Again, if you like me or you don't like me, I mean, I think we can disagree and still be friends. I think we can agree and still be friends. And, I'm not going to bash your opinion, and I'm never going to bash. I'm going to, agree or disagree with your opinion, and we're going to debate things. That's what we do here, man. That's what we do. But I had a great night tonight, and I want to thank you guys for all tuning in. Michael Papernick, you're an OG of this show, man. Joe Hale, Barbara, all you guys who make this program great. Thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, Adam, as well. Tomorrow I will be back for one more episode of The Final Word. Then on Thursday I got post-game obligations, so no show on Thursday, but I'll be back tomorrow and we'll get this thing cranked up again. Don't forget, here on the network, as Steve said earlier, tomorrow night after the Phillies game and preceding me, as I will come on after the post game, Mike Lara will have you in the Fights Final. I got you on Thursday night. And then all the great program that we talked about earlier, that's here on the network. So please help us out. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy about us, and help us grow help us grow this great network. And that's going to wrap me up, folks. So you guys have a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow. Take care.